like Russo. His on-off splits are the best here.
Yeah, but his offensive win shares didn't even break 4.
Come on, check out that stop and pop.
What do you think?
My trade-off analytics indicate no one creates more space on offense. This allows him to nail a jumper from a densely populated urban area.
What you're trying to say is from way downtown?
I am still learning.
I can see that.
Tayo po ay nagbabalik dito sa Usapang Bayan. Kasama pa rin po ang Chairman at President ng IBM Philippines, Mr. Luis Pineda. Sir, I'm very much sure that you've achieved a lot and contributed a lot to the Philippine economy in the last 80 years. What can people expect from IBM in the coming years?
Yes, we're actually undergoing a pretty major transformation in IBM today. And we've been at it for the last few years, and it's really turning IBM in a cognitive and cloud computing company. And one of our big investment is around our cognitive capability called Watson. And Watson in 2011 basically played the game of Jeopardy and beat the biggest Jeopardy champions, 2 of the world champion in Jeopardy. And it wasn't created to play a game. It was created, and we picked Jeopardy because it was a hard problem to tackle, right? Basically the premise is, can you teach a computer, teach, not program, can you teach a computer a complicated game such as Jeopardy and beat the world champs? Right? And since then, in 2011, we beat the world champs, and we've taught Watson many things, from retail to banking to insurance to law to healthcare, you name it, we've taught Watson. And I'm happy to say that we've made a tremendous amount of progress. And in fact, Watson, for example, in healthcare is helping save lives, all right, in the cancer field. So what we did was we partnered our Watson for Healthcare, or Watson for Oncology to be exact. We partnered with 20 cancer research centers around the globe. And they taught IBM Watson oncology, cancer. IBM's not an expert in cancer, they are. And today, our Watson for Oncology is giving oncologists treatment advice for their cancer patients. Right? So you would basically tell Watson, point it to your patient records, electronic patient record, and Watson would give you the 6 treatment options for that patient, right? In the order of preference, priority. And it will tell you the efficacy rate, it will tell you the side effects, it will tell you how it arrived at that conclusion, etc. And this used to take rooms of oncology in an oncology board, right, to figure out what that treatment should be. So it could take days, weeks, or even months to do, and Watson could do it in milliseconds. So these are the type of things, these are the type of problems that a cognitive system can really do, right? And so that's just one example, and I have tons of examples in other fields.
Talking about Watson, are you planning to have a physical body into Watson, making him like a robot or something like that, or an
Yes,
android?
we actually partnered with SoftBank. So what you see in Japan, a lot of the, you actually see it all over Japan when I was there recently, where you know, they have this robot called Pepper. And behind Pepper is actually a Watson brain. Right, so you interact with Pepper like you would, you know, a person, and you would have, you know, a conversation, and it's Watson behind.
Watson is powering that brain.
Yes, yes. And actually, what they're saying is, I might get the statistics wrong here. By 2018, 50% of what consumers interact with on the internet will have cognitive behind it. So it's something. It's a game changer.
Is there any legislative measures, sir, that you would want the government to craft when it comes to the industry that involves IBM?
It's really common across the IT industry here, right? You know, there's laws such as data privacy laws, data residency laws, et cetera, that we're all very interested in and advocating security laws to protect, you know, banks and financial institution from cybercrime. You know, those type of things that are very good for our country to have a good, you know, regulations around.
Talking about cybersecurity, what can you say about the general state of affairs that we have here in the Philippines in terms of our level of cybersecurity?
Right. Generally not good, but improving fast. That's the good thing. You know, just in the last year alone, the amount of board discussion in you know, most of the companies that I deal with, right? Very loud on cybersecurity. It's become a high priority for them because some of them have been attacked many times and continues to be attacked. And you know, as they digitize, right, their company, right, if you don't have a good security underpinning, digitization will just open you up for more attacks and more vulnerability. So it's one of the foundation that companies need to build, one of the first things they need to build as they go digital.
Well, Luis, as a follow-through question to that, one of the priority programs of the government is really to have more financial inclusion. Is IBM doing or helping out along those lines to enable more Filipinos to be part of the financial system?
Yes, we do that through the financial systems here. Most of the banks, most of the financial institution, including the central bank, are IBM clients. Very happy about that fact. And they come to us for all their needs, from hardware needs to software needs to services needs. And happy to say as well, we're a big part of the financial institutions here in the Philippines in terms of protecting them from cyber crimes and security. In terms of financial inclusions, they have a lot of programs, actually. That's one of the big exciting things, is tapping into the unbanked. And how do you get to the unbanked, right? And a lot of the financial institutions here have actually a lot of innovative ideas that we're a part of in terms of implementing and enabling.
On a more personal note, sir, ako po, I'm very proud when I see a fellow Filipino making it big in any industry, no? So, can you give us your guiding principle, perhaps, that our general public or viewers can know para po ma-inspire din sila?
When I mentor a lot of people, and I try to mentor as many people as possible. And one of the big advice that I give them is, in order for you to really differentiate yourself, it's around innovation. Not just technology innovation, business innovation, innovation in everything you do. You could be an HR practitioner. There's a lot of innovation that you could, affect in the HR field, right? Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of hardworking people in all companies, right? How do you get noticed, right? You get noticed when you're innovating, when you're making a real difference. And that's really the biggest advice I give the people that I mentor, is build your career, build it around innovation.
As a follow-through question to your career background and your plans, are you planning to stay here in the Philippines a bit longer than would be normal, or?
Yes, I've fallen in love with the Philippines. It's a great place to work. As they say, it's more fun in the Philippines. And my 2.5 years has proven that it's really indeed more fun, and you could be very, very successful here and having fun at the same time. So I'm here for a long time.
Well, one of the things you said that for you to move up is for you to get noticed. And what if the Philippine government gets to notice you and says, could you work for us? What's going to be a reply to that?
I'll have to ask my ultimate boss about that, which is, the missus.
Well, we're almost at the end of our program. Maybe you can spend a couple of minutes just to tell us what IBM's message is for the Philippines and your goals and objectives here in the
Right.
Philippines?
Yes, I talked about Watson earlier and cognitive computing, and one of the innovations around cognitive computing is customer service, customer support, right? Where the intelligence of the computer is actually moving so fast that it could literally replace a lot of the jobs here in the Philippines, right? The customer service type oriented jobs, right? So my advice, and this is what I'm doing with IBM here in the Philippines, is really moving up the value chain, right? Doing development work, right? Doing work where you're actually creating things, not just servicing, right? Doing work such as analytics, data science work, right? These are the jobs of the future. And this is really where the demands of the future is coming from, these areas. So, my advice, and I'm happy to, share this across the industry. I was recently elected as the IBPAP trustee member, board of trustee. So in that role, I'm also advocating to the various industries here in the Philippines really to move up that value chain and make Philippines more competitive than ever.
Well, we've come to the end of our program and we'd like to thank you for joining us this evening. At
Thank you.
yan po ang isang makabuluhang diskusyon kasama si IBM Chairman and President, Mr. Luis Pineda.
Maaari niyo po kaming i-follow sa Facebook, Usapang Bayan. Ako po si Rach Marquez.
At ako po si George Chua. Samahan niyo po kami sa susunod nating mga episodes dito sa Usapang Bayan.